What's up guys, in this video today we're going to be talking about inner growth and a little bit of maybe touching spirituality and frequency. So in my life I've definitely had experiences where I've had lower frequencies and higher frequencies. I've had moments I think where I had really low frequency, like actions I took, and then actions I took which were a high frequency. And that's kind of the separation, I would say, if you had to say it in a modern term. Instead of frequency, we could say NPC behavior and non-NPC behavior. So, to understand simply, when you're at a higher frequency, you're being a non-NPC, and when you're at a lower frequency, you're acting like an NPC would. And most people in the world, honestly, are acting at an NPC level, which is low frequencies. You know, you're doing actions like, I don't know, partying, being addicted to substances, drinking a lot, just doing a lot of dumb stuff, basically. Not that there's anything wrong with NPC behavior, but, if that's your life. But, you could probably do better things with your potential. And everybody has a potential they can tap into if they so choose. But I do think certain experiences can lead you to be a non-NPC more in somebody's lives than others. Because if you've had kind of this railed NPC life, you've never felt a great amount of pain or had to go through a lot of suffering and experiences, I almost feel like those kind of people never turn into non-NPCs because they can never find higher frequencies or God. They can't connect so well because they don't have almost like a reason. They can never feel enough pain to feel the need to seek God, so they stay as an NPC and continue the behavior. And a lot of people go through their entire life being basically an NPC, operating at a low frequency where they don't really understand a lot of the stuff they are actually doing to themselves or harming themselves. And then they laugh at not religion, but they laugh at God specifically and the Bible and things like that. Oh, are you talking about your demons and whatever, they're subsiding it, and they only think in realistic terms. You have things for example, they understand addictions and things on these basic levels, which is oh, I should use my phone less, or I should try to sleep more, scroll less. These are really basic stuff that low frequency NPCs do understand, right? Basic addictions and stuff. Everybody understands this, even if you're at a low frequency. But when you get to a higher frequency, you can understand a lot of these concepts way better. And when you're connected with God, a lot of these addictions come very easy to, through God especially, and being at a higher frequency and operating at a higher level of consciousness, basically, and discovering within yourself your own potential and power to do things in the world. You can realize how insignificant almost and small thinking it is to just think about things oh, this is just an addiction and whatever, right? Instead of, you can think kind of at a higher consciousness level about all these addictions and things, and not subsiding the fact that these kind of are, in a sense, almost like demons, in a sense, is what I'm trying to get at. They are, in a sense, their own demons, and people try to laugh at this stuff the devil trying to get you and all that, because they're at that low frequency and they don't understand anything. They kind of understand and know what is right, sort of, but they never kind of bother to try and access that higher frequency where they would understand it completely, or they don't want to change enough, or they don't feel enough pain to change to a higher frequency. And I think that pain is essential for growth, because you have to go through a certain amount of pain to be able to elevate yourself to a higher frequency, because you can't surrender to God without actually realizing, for example, if you have done sins, or you actually have been kind of possessed almost by demons. You don't realize it till you literally level up to a new consciousness and frequency and when you up yourself on a level. Like, that's when you actually realize that you're doing something wrong, right? So I would say, if you're struggling with a lot of these, like if you're technically an NPC, like you're at a low frequency, I would actually say, hopefully this video also gives you insights about your thinking, and I hope that you can kind of think about these things a little bit and try to maybe go into the Bible and read the text of God and try to start building that connection with God, seek Him, and start slowly noticing things around you, that God is actually within you and the Holy Spirit is actually trying to guide you. Like, notice it around you, visually, hearing, whatever. Like, connect these things and start connecting the dots in your brain slowly, and eventually you are going to level up to a higher frequency. And this also goes into inner growth and self-discovery. You have to spend some time with yourself and really focus on inner growth, mental growth, and take time for that, and start working on things that you actually should be working on, and slowly you can break away. But also another thing is, hanging around with people who are also NPCs is going to be definitely detrimental to your growth if you want to actually like elevate your consciousness. Because if you're around a bunch of people who are acting at this low frequency, those people are probably more like you, try to keep you at that low frequency. So you have to separate yourself from people to an extent, at least to a pretty good extent, so you can actually have individual thinking and self-discovery. You can't have good high consciousness, high frequency self-discovery with people who are not vibrating at that high level. It's different if you're hanging around people who are at a high frequency, because those people, you have a frequency difference. Those people could actually bring you up to a higher frequency potentially and help you elevate your consciousness. Like, that's the thing. So I'd recommend ditching people to an extent, at least, or completely from your life, that are not bringing you any value or telling you can't do certain things, or you can't push for success, you can't elevate yourself. Like, stop this negative thinking, and this is low frequency thinking. Like, this is what is keeping you in that, like, let's just say, like, NPC 9 to 5 mindset, which is like, you can only do 9 to 5, I can't achieve my dreams, I won't even bother. That's NPC thinking. Like, it's too hard. Like, yes, everything in life is hard, but you have God guiding you, right? You have God showing you the way. You have God with you all the time when you actually connect with Him, and you realize that, you go into the text and you connect properly. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And that's how you get to a higher consciousness. It's when you start slowly shifting to this different mindset and consciousness. That's all for this video. I hope this gives you insights and thought-provoking things, and I hope you can find your way to a higher frequency. If you're at a low frequency, if you're already at a higher frequency, then I don't see, you should probably just continue what you're doing. But yeah, thank you for watching. If there's a will, there's a way, and God bless.